This free step-by-step video comes to you directly from Haynes. You can complete more than 200 jobs on this vehicle when you purchase the complete Haynes online manual at haynes.com.
Thermostat Renewal. Prise up the centre pins and lever out the plastic expansion rivets each side of the undertray. Undo the torque screws and remove the deflector at the front of the undertray. Remove the torque screws at the front edge of the undertray. Undo the screws at the rear edge and slide the undertray forwards, noting how it engages with the subframe. Remove the tray from under the vehicle. Lift and pull the engine cover to remove it from the vehicle. Removal. Battery negative lead disconnection and reconnection. Disconnection. Undo the bolt and disconnect the battery negative lead from the bracket on the suspension tower. Insulate the lead terminal to prevent accidental reconnection. Disconnect the mass airflow sensor wiring plug, then unclip the wiring loom. Disconnect the vacuum hose from the side of the air outlet. Slacken the clamp and disconnect the air outlet hose. Release the pipe retaining clip from the bracket and unclip the rubber strap. Pull the housing upwards from the rubber mountings and manoeuvre it from place. Pull up and remove the front cover from above the battery. Slacken the positive lead clamp nut. Detach the positive lead from the terminal and position it away from the battery. Disconnect the wiring plug, then unclip the wiring loom from the front of the battery tray. Slide up and remove the front panel of the battery tray and place it to one side. Undo the nuts and remove the battery retaining clamp. Slide the battery forwards a little, then disconnect the battery sensor wiring plug. Lift the battery from place, taking care as it's very heavy. If required, slacken the nut and disconnect the negative lead clamp from the battery negative terminal. Undo the nut and detach the sensor from the side of the battery tray. Undo the bolts and remove the battery tray. Pull the bonnet release lever located in the passenger's footwell. Lift the bonnet slightly. Pull the safety catch forwards. Raise the bonnet and release the bonnet prop from its clip. Engage the bonnet prop to support the bonnet. To drain the system, first remove the expansion tank filler cap. Chock the rear wheels. Position the jackhead under the reinforced section of the door sill flange. Then raise the vehicle until the wheel is clear of the ground. Support the vehicle with an axle stand under the reinforced section of the sill flange. Prise up the centre pins and lever out the plastic expansion rivets each side of the undertray. Undo the torque screws and remove the deflector at the front of the undertray. Remove the torque screws at the front edge of the undertray. Undo the screws at the rear edge and slide the undertray forwards, noting how it engages with the subframe. Remove the tray from under the vehicle. Place a large drain tray underneath the radiator drain tap, which is located at the lower left-hand corner of the radiator. Then fit a length of hose to the pipe at the side of the drain tap to help direct the flow of coolant into the drain tray. Unscrew the radiator drain tap with pliers and allow the coolant to drain. Now remove the thermostat housing bleed cap. Once the coolant has stopped draining from the radiator, close the drain plug, then remove the hose. Remove the drain container from under the vehicle. Depress the clip and disconnect the coolant temperature sensor wiring plug, located at the left-hand end of the cylinder head. Note their fitted positions, then release the spring-type clamps and carefully disconnect the coolant hoses from the thermostat housing. These type of clamps lock in their released positions. Be prepared for coolant spillage. Unclip the vacuum hoses from the side of the housing. Undo the 4 retaining bolts and manoeuvre the thermostat housing from place. If the old rubber gasket remains on the cylinder head surface, remove it. Clean the mating surface of the cylinder head. Make sure it's free from dirt, debris and any traces of the old rubber gasket. The thermostat is integral with the housing. Press the new rubber gasket into the groove in the thermostat housing. Manoeuvre the thermostat housing into position, then insert the retaining bolts. Now tighten the retaining bolts to the specified torque. Clip the vacuum hoses back into place. Reconnect the various hoses to the thermostat housing, then move the clamps into their original positions and use a small screwdriver to unlock them, securing the hoses. Reconnect the coolant temperature sensor wiring plug. Manoeuvre the battery tray into place, then refit the mounting bolts and tighten them securely. Refit the sensor to the battery tray and securely tighten the retaining nut. Refitting. Fit the negative lead clamp to the negative terminal of the new battery and tighten the retaining nut securely. To help prevent corrosion, apply a little petroleum jelly to the negative terminal and clamp. Place the battery in the tray and reconnect the battery sensor wiring plug. Push the battery to the rear of the tray. Secure the battery in position by refitting the retaining clamp and tightening the nut securely. Refit the front section of the battery tray, ensuring it clips back into place correctly. Clip the wiring loom back into place and reconnect the wiring plug. Press the positive lead clamp down over the battery positive terminal and tighten the retaining nut securely. Apply a little petroleum jelly to the positive terminal and clamp. Refit the battery top cover. Position the housing over the rubber mountings and press it down firmly into place. Ensure no wiring or hoses are trapped beneath the housing. With the housing correctly fitted, secure the air intake hose with the rubber strap. Clip the pipe to the bracket and reconnect the sensor wiring plug. Slide the hose over the air outlet and tighten the retaining clamp securely. Remove the insulation, then secure the battery negative lead to the bracket. Tighten the bolt securely. Position the tray under the vehicle. Engage the undertray with the subframe each side Then refit the rear screws and tighten them securely. Fit and tighten the front screws securely. Refit the front deflector and tighten the retaining screws. Refit the plastic expansion rivet each side, then press the centre pins down to secure them. Prepare a sufficient quantity of the specified coolant mixture and allow for a surplus, so you have a reserve supply for topping up. Position a funnel and slowly fill the system through the expansion tank. Since the tank is the highest point in the system, all the air in the system should be displaced into the tank by the rising liquid. Slow pouring reduces the possibility of air being trapped and forming airlocks. On some models, bleed screws are fitted to allow the air out from the system. Place a container or cloth below the bleed screw, then remove the cap and release the air until there is a flow of coolant. Clean up any spilt coolant when completed and remove the cloth. Continue filling until the coolant level reaches the expansion tank max level line. Then remove the funnel and cover the filler opening to prevent coolant splashing out. Start the engine and run it at 2,500 RPM for 2 minutes. If the level in the expansion tank drops significantly, top up to the max level line to minimise the amount of air circulating in the system. With the expansion tank filled to the max level line, refit the expansion tank cap and run the engine at 2,500 RPM until the thermostat opens and the engine is at normal operating temperature. Check this by feeling the radiator bottom hose. If it's hot, then the thermostat has opened. Position the tray under the vehicle. Engage the undertray with the subframe each side. Then refit the rear screws and tighten them securely. Fit and tighten the front screws securely. Refit the front deflector and tighten the retaining screws. Refit the plastic expansion rivet each side, then press the centre pins down to secure them. Raise the vehicle. Remove the axle stand and lower the vehicle to the ground. If, after draining and refilling the system, symptoms of overheating are found which did not occur previously, then the fault is almost certainly due to trapped air at some point in the system, causing an airlock and restricting the flow of coolant. Usually, the air is trapped because the system was refilled too quickly. If an airlock is suspected, first try gently squeezing all visible coolant hoses as shown. A coolant hose which is full of air feels quite different to one full of coolant when squeezed. After refilling the system, most airlocks will clear once the system has cooled and been topped up. Note the location of the cover fixing pegs, then refit the cover securely in position on the engine.